Yeah, I got a bunch of work today. I'm not gonna be finished till like 9 p.m. tonight or something like crazy like that.
Oh,
It's funny
really?
'cause we were just talking about like in the last one, like if you set specific times where you finish and you turn off, and you got to be strict with your calendar and organized and all that thing. But we also
Hmm.
spoke things just kind of pop up and
Well,
um,
it does. But I mean, that's what we say too. Be open to change,
of
but
course,
you also have to block, or maybe not even block, but be able to move and tweak to say, hey, this came up, which I'm okay with. I just have to block my timing. And this is a great case in point because, like yesterday, last week I showed you my calendar for Monday. I had a lot of appointments with agents, and it went from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Then 11 a.m., which I forgot about, and luckily she messaged me, and so I had an 11 a.m., which I didn't have on my calendar, and then I had a 1 o'clock and a 3 o'clock. So I
wow,
had 6 meetings. So what I did, I wrote down on my little sheet that I do, and I wrote all the meetings. Now I knew the meetings were 30 minutes. Majority, I think I had one, maybe two were an hour, 45
right,
minutes to an hour. So I knew that. So with that, I'm like, all right, during this 30-minute window, I'm actually going to give myself 20 minutes because it's me. I know me. If I think 30 minutes, I'll go 45. So I have to shorten my time frame because you know what I'm not thinking about? I'm not thinking about a quick break. I'm not thinking about a snack. I'm not thinking about water. I'm not thinking about the bathroom.
right,
I'm not thinking about any of that stuff that comes into play.
yes,
So I went and I blocked it. I'm like, all right, I've got an hour and a half. I'm going to make prospecting calls in that hour, and I'm going to eat lunch. And that was from like 11:30 to 1.
right,
And I really gave myself an hour just so I could buffer myself that extra 20, 30
right,
minutes. Um, So that was a big piece on that, and it worked. And I was able to stay consistent on my day, and I wrote it well and block block block,
yeah,
and I maneuvered,
right,
and it worked out good. And a couple things popped up at the end of the day, which was okay. Again, I know that, and it stopped me from finishing my day the way I wanted to.
yes.
And so I tried to do that. I actually stayed up a little bit later last night to wrap up some things and write down some numbers and track stuff. Um, and then get ready for today. So, then I wake up today. Let me see where we got 1 second. Sorry, pardon me here. So that, then I wake up today and I just start going, I'm just feeling frustrated now.
Right.
And I can't tell why. And maybe it's sometimes I look at diet. If I eat a bunch
Yeah.
of sugar, it screws me up the next day, just mentally.
Right.
My
Right. Yeah.
brain's a mush as well. Um, and that's kind of what I did, man. But I look at a lot of stuff. I'm just kind of in a rut right now. And it kind
Yeah.
of
No
leads
problem.
off of last week's conversation.
Yeah, it does. It does. I think you're bringing the diet thing into it's actually really important because I know that I've spoke about this before, how whenever I'm in a rut, I know that doing some physical work helps me climb out of it because it does things chemically. Chemically inside you that helps you move forward and feel better and whatever. Um, and when was this? There was like it was some point last year. I really fell off my diet. Like I was going crazy. I was gaining a bunch of weight. I was drinking more alcohol and whatever on the weekends than normal and blah blah. Nothing too crazy, I don't have a problem with it, but it was just way more than normal, and I felt it every single day I was working, and it was horrible. I could feel disgusting in the during the day just because of my diet, and that was one thing where eating clean really, really, really did help. But these are things that I think that people in real estate can get extremely, extremely busy. Well, we hope that they do get extremely busy, right? That's a great problem to have because you've got work and
Right.
you've got.
Yeah.
But
True.
I think a lot of people in real estate get so busy and so caught up in the work that they do forget about workouts. They forget about diets. They forget, like you just said, like you didn't take into account like food breaks, toilet breaks, blah blah blah, whatever else, and they'll grab something quick in some shop somewhere and eat it in their car for lunch because they're between viewings or between meetings and things like that. I think it's really important that people that want to really, really take control of their business rather than the business taking control of them. I think that's probably one of the first stops is the little things. Like decide to take 30 minutes because you need to take 30 minutes tomorrow at 11 a.m. for a coffee break or I don't know, just to walk the dog, clear your head a little bit, whatever it is. Trying to schedule that stuff in, I think, is super important. And yeah, like me today, I'll be working till like I've got a meeting at 8:30 p.m. with some clients. We're struggling with documentation for a specific type of property that they're buying out here in Spain, which requires more steps and regulations and requirements and stuff. And it can only be done at 8:30 p.m. It's one of those where it's non-negotiable because she's working till this time, he's working till this time. They both live outside of town, so they come at different. And it's the only time that they can do it. Nobody wants to do it. They want to do it. I don't want to do it. That's normal. That's what happens. But I think when it's a situation like this, every now and then, okay, like it's okay. You can let it slide because at the end of the day, it's a dollar producing activity.
Right.
It's important for your clients, which in the future may turn into more clients. You're building on that relationship with your clients, which is like number one. But don't let it be like that all the time because I couldn't even imagine living like this all the time. And I know that there's people that do it, which is
Well,
cool.
there is, and I mean, think of the reverb, especially for somebody like you or I. You have a family, you have a wife, you have
Right.
children, you have pets. You are now neglecting them
Mhm.
because you're putting work before them all. So,
100%.
and in that one case, it's fine. Hey, you could explain to your wife and your kids, hey, I've got this one deal right now. These guys work late. I've got to talk to them at 8:30. And I'm really sorry, guys. I'll make it up to you. We could go for ice cream later this week or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Um, but when it's daily, yeah, super challenging. You're really, yeah, your focus may not be accurate. If you are doing that daily. And I'm not judging anybody. I'm just, look
No.
at yourself, look at what and prioritize what's important to you, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
So
And if you are living like that and working like that, I seriously applaud you because that means you got a lot going on and you got a lot of work going. And I hope it's with clients that are actual, are clients of yours. It's not these people that might buy a house and then you meet with
right.
them, you do like an hour with them at 9 p.m. and then they disappear. That's a
Right.
pain. That's
Yeah.
annoying as hell.
Yeah.
So if you are working like that with real clients of yours, I applaud you because that's a lot of work. You've got a lot going on, and that's probably where a lot of people wish to be. But at the same time, we got into this to take control of our lives for more freedom, to be more time with our families and stuff. That's why most people get into real estate, I think. So just don't ever forget the reason that you're in here in the first place. I think that's important, and that's actually something I've been thinking about a lot today. Is
Yeah.
why we're here, why I'm doing what I'm doing, how I got to where I am. If it's where I wanted to be like 6 months ago, yeah, I wrote
Nice.
a lot of reflecting today. I just had some free time and that happened, so that was cool.
That is cool.
Yeah,
No, well, and I look at that and I like that you said that. It kind of makes me think, and me and you talk a lot and talk about helping other people. And it's tough, like where just where I am, like I still try to tell people or I try to help people. And
yeah,
like I make a lot of phone calls for prospecting and, and I get hung up on and I get told bad words. I get,
yeah,
I get a lot of rejection and I'm only human. I could take a lot,
yeah,
but it's still it's like, and especially now, and again, if you haven't watched last week ICW, I was telling you about those $1 million clients of mine,
yeah,
and to put that effort in and it's gone, it it's hurt my business as a whole. And I'm I'm okay with getting over it, but now I'm looking at my business as a whole because I
Right.
was really focused on them over the last 6 to 8 months of finding what they needed and didn't work my business appropriately. So shame on me. I get that.
Right.
But, I'm adjusting business again because we have families, because I want to help coach my daughter's softball team. I want to help make dinner for my wife so she could relax or do something she wants to do.
Yeah.
So I balance all this stuff. And now I'm in a rut because now I don't have business moving. Um, I've got a few closing this month, which is awesome. And I'm very grateful for that. But how I've calculated my earnings, and I've talked about this too, that I break down my 15 bank accounts and I've got small percentages going to each one.
Right.
And I'm not like, oh, 85% goes to this and, 25% to this. My math is pretty accurate where I'm taking point, is it 0.25%? A
Right.
quarter of a percent, quarter of 1%
Yeah.
on some things. I'm doing that only because, and I did this on my last paycheck. I literally put $3 I transferred from one account to another
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that was 0.25%, $3.
Right.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, am I really doing this? And I said, yes, I need to do this, whether it's $3, $300, $3,000, it's 2.2, it's 0.25%, excuse me.
Yeah.
So when I do all those deductions and I'm trying to run the business and I save my chunk of money for taxes, I save my chunk of money so I could pay my assistant, minus all my separations, and I'm only taking 20% out for those 15 accounts.
Right.
So keep that in mind as well. I'm not, so that way we still have 80% to spend for the family, but still after those deductions, that 80% is dwindled down. So even when I'm doing like this month is 3 closings, I've got a referral on 2 of them. So that cuts that down. And then you take down, then with EXP, I'm now back at 80/20. I reset May 1st. So
Right.
now EXP is going to get their 20% and then all my deductions. So it's really hitting on that piece. And then in June, I only have 1 closing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Caveat, I've got 3 listings on the board, one coming up in the next 30, 60 days. Great. But they're all a challenge. They're super tight on their margins.
Mm-hmm.
And the sellers don't have wiggle rooms on these. And I'm trying to make sense of it all, Um,
Yeah.
so that's where I'm just, like I said, it's just a rut thing where I'm trying to work these listings. Two of the 3 listings I have right now, I can't get a showing on either one of them.
Right.
And that's tough.
Yeah.
And so if that happens, usually it's price. And the
Yeah.
sellers won't go down on price, either one of them.
Right. Right.
And so,
Do you just touching on that really quick?
yeah, go
When
for it.
that happens to you, and let's just say, I don't know, let's just say like a few months has gone by. Um, how often do you get rid of properties in your portfolio? So, like, how often would you, let's just say, fire the client? Say, like, I can't sell this property anymore because there's no wiggle room with the price. There's no showings. I'm deciding to get rid of it as the
Yep.
realtor. Like, do you do that? Is that common out there? Is that I recently did that. I had a cleanup. There was a
No,
couple of properties I had that were in that kind of situation, and I decided to talk with the owners and like, hey, let's just sign this document, which is like what would you call it?
release,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a
So
release out of the contract.
yeah, exactly. So I'm
Yep.
signing this with you because I've decided that I can't sell this property for you.
Yep.
You get rid. I'd rather have properties that are producing leads and producing movement in my business rather than just having those for the sake of having them. I'd rather have
Yep.
be good listings rather than like 10, which are meh, doing something but not a lot. So
So,
is that with you guys or
yeah, I mean, you definitely, I mean, that's smart business. And I applaud you for doing that. my thing here in Indiana, we definitely have pockets.
Right.
Pockets that sell fast, pockets that sell
Yeah.
slow.
Yeah.
So when I go into the listing and I go to get the contract, I know these pockets of where I'm going. And so I purposely say, hey, I'm going to have a 6-month contract on here
Yeah.
because it may take us 6 months to sell this thing.
I do 6 months as well. Yeah.
So, so to that point, and I like what you said. Is it producing leads? Is it producing activity? Um, I just try to watch the market. And yes, I can do that. Do I have a breaking point? I don't know. And one that I'm talking about today, Salem, is the name of the road. I asked him, I said, what do you want to net at the end of the day? What's your lowest amount? And I did this because I just sold one on what was called German Church Road. And this one was listed at $400,000. This is the one that had 8 acres. You probably saw the pictures on social media. Had 8 acres as a little ranch on the property. This house has been on the market for like 3 years with multiple top producing realtors all around Indiana. I get my hands on it. And so we get this offer, and my client immediately says no. So I go back to her and I said, what's your bottom dollar to walk away with? She said $340,000.
Okay.
And now, mind you, that offer came in pretty low. I think they offered like 360 is what it was.
Okay.
And she said no, and I said, what's your net dollar? 340, she said. I said, all right. So I started working math. I talked to the agent and I said, hey, we're both going to take a reduction in price on this one, but we're going to get this done for our clients. Are you in? I asked that agent, I said, are you in?
Yes.
Yes, I'm in.
Awesome.
Exactly. Right. So I was like, all right, good. Let's go. I said, I've been crunching numbers, and because she even like negotiated, she's trying to push me to get a higher percentage. I said, listen, I'm at my lowest. And she's like, well, I have a referral on it. I said, I have a referral on it too. Like, we're not going to make $1 million on this property.
Right.
And I told her, one of the biggest things I told her too, something's better than nothing.
Yes, exactly.
If we walk with $2,000, cool, yay us, right? That's better than zero. So let's figure out something, right? So she was all in. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I go back to my client and I said, and I'm working numbers, and I like had paper on paper all over the place. And I go back to my client and I say, hey, here, I could get you 340, like on the dot, like I worked it right there.
Percent.
And I said, look, I could get you 340. We close in 2 weeks, no inspection, no appraisal. You take this? like we're not getting anything better. You take this. And so she thought about it for like 2 days, talked to her family, and finally, I'm like nervous every day. I'm like, God, yeah. And so he comes back, she says, okay. And I'm like, so we got it closed. So we got it closed in 2 weeks, no issues. Everything went great. And she walked away with $100 less than 340,000. So it was right there, so we nailed it. So now with the listings I have, I'm trying to do that same thing. What's your net? And now those margins are so tight on all 3 of these properties. It's even if I reduce my commission, I can't reduce it to 0. I could be smart, make something instead of nothing, but I can't do it for nothing. And I really went on a far tangent from your question. But that's how I'm trying to work business right now, of how I can make these things happen for these guys. And when you have these pockets that are sitting 6 months, you've got to sit and wait. And you gotta have conversations with your sellers to say, hey, here's how many views on Zillow you have. I use that a lot. And when I'm up in the thousands, I know we're going to start getting traction. My brand new listing that we listed on Friday had 200 views over the weekend.
Right.
Not good.
Not good, yeah.
So that's a key point. And I've got to talk to my clients today and say, hey, here's what we've got. we've had 0 showings. We've got 200 views on Zillow. We're promoting, we're marketing, we're getting it out there, but
something ain't clicking. Yeah.
yeah. So
That's
it's having hard conversations first.
yeah.
If it comes to that point, Ian, to say, hey, I need to fire them, by all means, I could do just like you said too. We call it a mutual release. Sign it, get out, and move on. I'm one not to give up.
Yes.
That's me.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a fault. I don't know. In this
Oh
case,
no.
but I want to do my darndest for my clients, right? And
Exactly.
yeah, and I'm putting marketing dollars into everything I'm doing.
Exactly.
So I want to return as well.
You want to make that back, of course.
Yeah. So do I want to eat $1,000 in marketing, or do I wait it out?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. And you touched on there as well. I think that's really important. Having those difficult conversations is always the first step. Yeah, recently I had like a cleansing where I got rid of two properties that weren't selling. Owners were not even open to the idea of price reductions, negotiating commissions, and everything else. Didn't work. Nothing worked. I was like, okay, so we'll just keep it up for the next 4 or 5 weeks, see what happens. Nothing happened. I'm like, listen, I'd rather make space for, not that I have limited space, but I'd rather make space for listings that are going to feed my family at the end of the day. So I'm sorry, I can't do this. And it's always on good terms, always. So there's never ever been an issue with that at all. But I like how you touched on negotiating there to get that property sold, but you also negotiated with the other agent. And I think that's a huge piece. And we've been talking about that a lot here in EXP Spain recently. And I've had a couple of fights with other agents within EXP about collaboration because they just think about money that's coming into their account. And that's it. That's it. That's all they think about.
Mhm.
Whereas I'm putting the client first always.
Yeah.
I like exactly like you said, I'd rather have like 50% of something rather than 100% of nothing. And it's come to situations where the deal hasn't gone through because the other agent refuses to negotiate because it's a referral and he has to pay this person, he has to pay this person, EXP takes this and blah, blah, blah. And the EXP split's still like the highest in the market, which is, but that aside, and I think a huge part of being in EXP, and one of the things that I like about it most is that they feed into that kind of collaboration all the time. And most of the agents that I've had to work with or spoke about, all of them are open to it. And all of them will negotiate lower commissions because they know that doing such a good job for their clients, that'll probably turn into more business in the future.
Yeah.
That's what they're thinking about, not the money that's coming through within the next few weeks or whatever. So, that's huge. That's huge. And it's great to see. I think if every agent worked like that, there would be more sales, there would be more happier families, and more transactions for everyone. So, who doesn't want that? But it's not for everyone. That's not how everyone rolls.
Well, and it goes down to a mindset, though.
I think so.
Yeah. Are they running their business to make a dollar? Or are they running a business to help people? And when you help people, you still make a dollar. It just comes with the product,
Right.
and you get a better feeling because you're actually helping people and you're generally concerned and interested in them.
Yeah.
So it's a different mindset overall, and that's why we continue to push that mindset piece. And that's why it's great that you're out there to help hopefully turn that tide one day
Oh,
to,
yeah.
hey, the majority are focused on their client and they're okay with whatever dollar they make or whatever euro they make in your case.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
100%. And I said I always run everything on client satisfaction. I want to finish the work and I want a 5-star review. I've had 100% of my reviews are 5-star reviews at the moment. I've not had hundreds and hundreds of them. I've got like like 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, but I want to keep that up. I know that some days no, I won't. I'll get maybe like a 4 star, hopefully not a 3 star. But client satisfaction, I think, is the number one driver for good business anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter where you are,
Yeah.
and that's probably the number one way that can lead into more business. That's how all realtors, any salesman that sells anything in the world should live by that.
Yeah. I like it. I
There's
agree.
probably a book on it, and I haven't read it, but if anyone knows
You,
about it, let us know.
you should write a book, dude.
What would I stumble through it? That's what I would call it. Stumble through
Yeah,
it.
right. Yeah. You can have a
Stumble
picture
through
of
it.
you like, oh,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's what I would call it. I don't know. I'll stumble through the next like 5, 6 years, and then maybe think about it.
yeah.
See what
It,
happens.
yeah, I love it. Well, you heard it here first. So yeah,
Yeah,
we could revisit it in 5 years.
yeah. If you're watching this, you can get a free copy. So.
Yeah. Nice. You got to comment down below right now, though.
Yeah. And subscribe and all that stuff. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
I dig it. That's it, man. So no, and I mean, I always appreciate it. And that's where I like that we've taken this to just to kind of, you know, let people know that what we're going through, because I know we're not the only two going through stuff like this. There's other people that are frustrated, that are hitting walls, not having good conversations, trying to figure out the next step, how to get more sales, all that stuff. I know it's going on out there. I
Mhm.
talk to a lot of agents and I hear it every day.
Yeah.
Um, and we're human too. So even as we're producing and bringing agents on board and helping them grow, helping them produce, hey, we're human too. We're allowed to get frustrated. We're allowed to have these feelings and activities and all this stuff. And yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
That's again why you want the right people around you.
Yeah, I think so. 100%.
Because yeah, I know not every day is a great day. But I know when I could call Ian or text him or shoot him a video, I know he's going to be there for me.
Mhm.
You know, whether I'm way PO'd or I'm happy go lucky, whatever. I know he'll help me, and that's why we wanted to kind of change the demeanor of ICW. Is just hey, let's share, right?
Yeah. Let's share our stuff and because yeah, like, it's happening. I mean, a lot of people are going through what we go through and 10 times worse,
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
million times worse. And that's where if we can help at all, that would be cool. And the good thing is, you're in touch with a lot of agents, like in your organization, your upline, whatever else. I'm the same. So we learn from our own problems, but we're also learning from our agents' problems too. So the experience it's like, what would you call that? Like leveraged experience.
Hmm.
It's
Yep.
not ours directly, but so if people do have an issue, there's an agent that has a problem or whatever, you can reach out to people like us because if we haven't gone through that particular issue that you're having directly, we probably know somebody that has and that can help you out. We learn from all experiences, which is well, I think the goal with this podcast, right? Learn from
Yeah.
everyone's experiences. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just gonna say 100%. I should have said it. We would have like jinxed each other, been like
Uh,
simultaneous. It'd been sweet.
yeah,
But no, you're so right. And we just want to help people. So I don't
yeah,
know, man. That's all I got. What about you?
yeah. No, that's it. So yeah, if you're watching this, thank you for listening. If you made it this far, yeah, like I said, leave us a comment, get to know us, subscribe, reach out to us, say hello, say hey, thanks for the awesome episode that we spoke about this and you spoke about that.
Or
Or
say that we suck and what we
I
can
was
do
just about
better.
to say that. Tell
Yeah.
us like, hey, that was the worst thing I've ever listened to, and I only made it 3 minutes in. Just let us know. That's cool. That's
Yeah.
fine.
But if they only made it 3 minutes in, they wouldn't see this to leave a comment. So
Yeah, well, hopefully it's so bad that they don't need us to tell them that it's so bad. So
but yeah, seriously, we want to get better too. So yeah, you're watching. Yeah, let us know if you're liking it or not or whatever. And we appreciate you and Ian. I appreciate you, brother. So
yeah, likewise.
I
We
look
got this.
forward to build. I look forward to building that fund, my Spain account, so that way I could get out there. So
Right.
it's growing. $3, $3 a closing. I'm getting there, bro.
Better than nothing, like you said before.
100%, right? Yes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. It's so cool.
Awesome.
So awesome, buddy. All right. Catch you on the next time.
Will do. Thanks, guys. Take care.